Welcome students to this new session. So in this new session, you will be acquiring programming skills in your Python language, as CBC provides two computer courses. One is your computer science, another is your informatics practices at your senior secondary level. In both these courses, Python programming language is now being introduced from the last year. So as the language is common, so when you have to write a program, so initially the number of steps that you will be following will be similar. So that means for the few months the things will be similar in whether you have opted computer science or whether you have opted informatics practices. So before writing a program, you must know what should be the right approach to solve a problem, and what should be the order of the statement that you will be forming to write a program, and what should be the methodology, and what should the way you think actually for solving the problems. So today's objective is what to know about algorithm. So many of you may be knowing about the algorithm in previous classes. So in today's course that is called as a bridge course. So bridge course means a course that contains the content that is familiar to you, and you might be knowing that content, and that will help you to build your basis for the new course actually. So in your previous classes you might have learned about some topics that we have included in this bridge course, and we have included two important problem solving method, that is your algorithms and flowchart, because that will be helping you to build the program writing actually. So our objective today is actually what? Today actually it's a objective for these 2 years actually. So it will be a gradual phase. You will be acquiring knowledge, you will be acquiring programming skills as you move further. So the objective, the foremost, the important objective is what? So develop a right approach towards problem solving. So whether you solve a mathematical problem or any other problem, the way you think actually is very much important. So what should be your approach towards solving a problem? So that we will be discussing about that. And second, that will help you to certainly build a foundation for the program writing, because writing and solution for any problem is actually what? Simply writing the set of statements so that you are able to write a good program. So the important objective, developing a right approach and building the foundation for program writing. So these are the two important objectives. So that you will achieve, and we will achieve in the coming 2 years. So how to solve a given problem? So problem can be of various types, any mathematical problem. So we will be considering small mathematical problems where the logic is known to you, so that the concepts and basically the foundations building becomes easier. So first of all, whenever you have been given a problem, you have to know what the problem is all about. So identifying the problem, then analyzing the problem, you know about what kind of data is given in your problem, or the data which has to be calculated. So know about the data types and the number of data available in your program. Now separate the data which is given in the problem, which is available as an input, and the data which you have to be calculating. So that you must separate. Now what will be the logic, and what formula you will be using, the set of statements that you will be using for finding the solution. So that is an important task. Clear? So if you have gone through all 4 steps, so then that means you are able to identify the various set of inputs and what method you will be using for finding the solution actually. So after that, to represent the data in your problem, you will be using some kind of names. So these names are called as variable names or identifiers. Clear? Next, after that, you will be building statement. The meaningful statement you have to build, or you have to write actually. So after writing the statements, you will organize all these statements in a proper order, so that the things are clear, are arranged in a proper order. So that set of statements which you arrange in a proper order to represent the logic or the solution of the given problem is actually known as algorithm. So that algorithm we are discussing today. So algorithm means the set of statements or the sequence of steps that you will write to represent the solution of a given problem. So here the statement building is very much important. So let us start with a very simple problem. So we have to make a cup of tea. So to make a cup of tea, we have to start the process. So this is the step one, means formally we mark that we are starting the process. Second, you will take the cup of water, so as it desired in this case. Now after that you will pour that cup of water into a bowl, and that thereafter you will put it on your gas and switch on the gas. So after some time you will add tea leaves and sugar as per your requirement, and then after some time, if it is boiling or before boiling, that is up to you, you will add milk. So adding milk thereafter or in between, that may be the different procedure. Clear? So after it is ready, you will switch off the gas and then you will serve it. So after serving, your work is done. Clear? So this is the set of steps. This means we have written the procedure of making a cup of tea in proper order. So this is actually a example of an algorithm. So we have used simple English sentences. Later on you will be replacing these English sentences with some mathematical expressions. Clear? In the coming time. So how to write an algorithm? That means designing an algorithm. So let us consider a simple example, and using this simple example and identify the various parts of this problem and providing the solution, then we will be writing the set of statements forming an algorithm. So what should be the first step? The first of all, you will be identifying what the problem is all about. So this is a simple mathematical problem where area is given to you and your width is also given to you, and the name of a person, Mohan, is also given to you. But what we have to calculate? The length we have to calculate. So after analyzing this, means about the data, the second step you will be using for what? You will be using identifying your various kinds of data and separating those data, means the data which is given to you and the data which has to be calculated. So here you can see that, so the name of the person, Mohan, is given to you. So Mohan is a kind of data on which you do not calculation, so it is called a string and alphanumeric. So whenever we say string or alphanumeric, you can say it is enclosed in double quotes in number of programming languages. So we will be using a set of kind of you can say notion which are closer to your programming, so that in between you also have a look of how a program structure will look like. So Mohan is an example of a data, and then area 1200 is also given, that is a numeric data. Thereafter width is also given to you, that is 300 numeric data. The calculation can be performed. So now the data which has to be calculated, that is length. The length has to be calculated. So next, after these two steps, you will go for solution, the logic. So how you will finding the length of this rectangle? So as you know that the logic is very simple. You are having a formula of finding the area of the rectangle, and you all know that. So area of rectangle is equal to length into breadth. So here you can see this is equal to, and left hand side there is area of rectangle, right hand side there are two values of variables, you can say length and breadth. So whether you are able to use this formula exactly in the same form, clear? So in your mathematics you write the formula, then you write the given values, then you rearrange the formula, then you solve. So that means you will be using some kind of intermediate extra statements in mathematics. But in computer programming, basically you have to provide only the set of resultant statements that are actually required and desired. Unnecessary statements you have to skip, you have to leave. So in this case we have to find the length. You can see the area comes on the left hand side, and whereas length and breadth comes on the right hand side. So here you can see we have to find the length. So length should come on left hand side. Clear? The left hand side, it should be a variable. So you have to rearrange this formula in the sense that length comes on left hand side and all the given values should come on right hand side of equal to. So this is the basic principle you will be using for finding or solving these kind of problems. Next, the formula, we will be rearranging the formula. and after rearranging, your formula will look like this. The length equal to area of rectangle divided by breadth. So here's this forward slash, it is common in programming language to represent the division. So we will also be using this slash forward slash for representing a division symbol. Okay, fine. So now we are having this length equal to this. So this is the statement, or you can say the formula we will be using instead of using the area of rectangle, the first one. Clear? In our algorithm. So now we are having logic, we are having your data. Now next, building the statement. So before building the statement, you should be using some kind of names in your statements. So also identify those names and write those names. So mark those names. So here we can see that area. To store the area, we will be using a name like area here. And for storing the breadth of the rectangle, we will be using a variable name, a word called breadth. And last, length of rectangle, length we will be using. So at the beginning, you should be using simple one character name or a word. So do not use more than one set of words for writing the variable name. Clear? So that will know why I'm saying why you should not be using a group of words for a variable name. So now next we have everything. Now we will be building the statement actually. So for building a statement, the kind of statement. So first is assignment statement, and we are having the value 1200 for area. So we will be storing 1200 to a variable called area. So same way, breadth stores 300. Now we have to calculate the length, and we are having the rearranged formula of finding the area, that is length equal to area upon breadth. So you can see that these are the three important statements, and all these are similar. All are assignment or calculation statements, you can see. So after that, at the last, you will be arranging all these statements in a suitable order. So the order actually is from top to bottom, because the solution will goes from top to bottom. So what will be the first statement? There is area equal to 1200, second statement, breadth equal to 300, and last, length. So this is the proper order, because you will be finding the length if area and breadth are given to you. Otherwise you have to calculate. But in standard form worldwide, there is a way to represent algorithm in your books and your copies. And for that, let's write a standard algorithm for that solution. So you can see that the problem is the same. That is, now we will be writing some extra statements like step 1, start. It marks actually a formal beginning of the process. Second statement, area. The similar. Third is breadth, storing the breadth, and then finding the length using the rearrange formula. So the second, third, and fourth statements are important, at these represents your logic. But to mark the beginning and to display the things on the screen, you will be writing some extra statements. The print length actually represents a statement that says, please display your answer on the screen. Clear? To display the answer, you get the answer. Now stop your process, the end of your process. So here step 1 for marking the process that is beginning of the process, and step 6 ending the process, and print length is for what? Print length is for your displaying your answer. So what to do with your answer? Whether to store, whether to display, whether to use that answer. Clear? So I hope you are getting all these things. So these are very easy. Clear? In daily practice, when you solve any problem, you actually form algorithm in your mind, but you do not write the steps in your copy. Instead, you simply write the direct solution actually. So if you write the solution in proper order before solving a problem, the things will become always easy from your side. So that is the approach you have to develop how to solve a given problem. So the points to remember when you are writing an algorithm. So you may come across number of statements or expression when you are finding the solution, but you have to only select the resultant statement that actually is ready-made and to be executed in computer actually. So that statement, desired statement, should be used in your algorithm, and the extra intermediate statement you have to skip actually. So better to write in your mathematical form rather than in English sentences form. It's easier. Will be closer to your program writing. Now next, for variable names, as number of programming languages, we do not use spaces and other symbols like plus, minus. So we are not to be using those symbols in your algorithms too also. So do not use all those extra symbols. So keep in mind, a single character or a word is now sufficient to represent a variable name. So for example, area use instead of writing area of rectangle, and here in your programming languages, your words are case sensitive, letters are case sensitive. Uppercase and lowercase means difference. Uppercase a and lowercase a will be different. So keep in mind that also. Clear? So next, so when you are writing your variable names, if you follow how to write a variable name, from here onwards it will be easier to link with your program. So when you write a variable name, start with your alphabet, with the upper or lowercase, no problem. And then you can write a digit, and you can use a underscore also. So only these three characters you should use in your variable name. So that will be easier from your side to quickly start in program writing. So here you can see, so name is a variable name for representing student name, A1, 2 and B underscore 1. So this way you can use your variable names in your algorithms and flowchart. Clear? Next, the various kinds of operators, mathematical operators, which are common to number of programming language, and you are aware of all these operators. So simple plus you use for addition also in a programming language. So here in algorithm we also will be using these symbols for subtraction, difference, minus, and for division instead of your bar we will be using your forward slash. Clear? And for multiplication, in place of your x, your cross, we will be using your asterisk symbol. So it is common to number of programming language. Clear? So in our documentation in your algorithms, we will be using these symbols. So remember these symbols. And for remainder, to find a remainder, we have to use modulus or this percentage symbol in number of languages. So we are including this symbol also here for representation of remainder. For grouping your expression in your mathematical expressions, enclose those expression in between your parentheses. So you can enclose in square or curly braces, but better to leave those brackets right now here. Instead use only parentheses. Clear? As in programming languages, in your programs you will be using these parentheses for mathematical grouping expressions. Okay? Because curly brace and your square bracket are having some other meaning. So assignment operator is important because to store and to represent the calculation you will be using equal to symbol, that is your assignment operator. Clear? So these are the operators that we will be using in this discussion of writing algorithm. So let us take some examples. So again, taking an example simple, to find the parameter of a rectangle whose length and breadth are given to you like this. So here what will be algorithm? So starting your algorithm, starting step 1, start, mark the beginning. Then storing the given values, length equal to 50, that is we are excluding the units. It's better to exclude the units as length, and breadth is another variable that stores your value 90, that is your breadth. And to find the parameter, we are having the formula that all you know, 2 times 2 multiplied, that is length plus breadth. So here in this case, finding the parameter formula is directly used. You can see sometimes the formula can be used directly as length and breadth are already given to you. So now this will display your parameter on the screen if it is formulated in the form of a program. Now stopping your algorithm. So I hope the number of steps are very clear to you. So this we have taken very simple so that the concept of building algorithm and writing program steps becomes easy for you to understand. So here pari, length, breadth are the variable name, and asterisk represents your multiplication operator. Take one more example. So here the values are given to you. The score of Raman and score of Mohan and score of Sita in computer test is given, and the maximum marks is your for test is 25 marks. So find the average marks. For calculating or finding the average marks, you may not require the maximum marks. So what will be algorithm? The beginning, and then storing the given values. So we are using a variable name like M1. So M for marks 1 for Raman, that is 20. There is M2 for marks of your Mohan and M3 for marks of Sita. Clear? So this way you can be using your variable names, simple and smaller names. Clear? So finding the average, we may not be requiring the maximum marks, clear? So dividing the sum total by your number of items will give you the average. So adding all these 3 marks and dividing by 3, the answer will be stored in AVG. Now what to do with the AVG? Your answer is AVG. So displaying on the screen like that. So here you can see that M1, M2, M3 are the variable to store or to represent the marks. AVG is the variable that will be storing the answer. So here you can see we have used assignment statements, M1 equal to, M2 equal to. So sometimes the value are given to you in assignment, sometimes you have to calculate and then you have to assign thereafter. Clear? So all these are computational statements or calculation statements. Clear? So here names are given also in your problem, but we don't require these names as they not may be representing the or mandatory for your solution of the problem. So we have not written the names here. We can write also, but these are not compulsory. So we have left those statement for storing the names. Clear? So unnecessary statements may not be required in your problem. So let us take one more example. So sometimes the values are not given to you in your problem. So in number of program cases, you will be given these kinds of problems like enter the marks of computer for 3 students and find the average. So the problem is like your previous problem, but here the marks are not given to you. So marks for any 3 students. So let us what? So instead of storing, now you do have to assign. So you have to assign in different manner actually. You will be entering from keyboard the data which will be entered from keyboard. Now in your program actually will be storing in a variable called M1. So it will be appearing like that in your algorithm. So now take the marks and store in M1. It is like that. It is conveying this. So when the values are not given in number of algorithm techniques, we are using input. So input is not a keyword, but it's simply, you can say, like a keyword that represents please enter a value from keyboard and store in a variable. It's like that. Clear? So 3 marks we have entered. If we do not know the marks, whatever the marks will be there in the previous problem, always you will get the same answer. But here in this case, the marks are changing, so you will get a different answer. So it's a better program. Means the better algorithm for writing a better program. So the logic remains the same. Clear? So when the values are not given to you, you can write those statements like this: input M1, input M2, input M3. Clear? Now stopping your algorithm, marking the end of the solution. So M1, M2, M3 are the variables which are used to store the marks of 3 students. Next AVG the same, storing the answer, the average, slash for division, brackets for parenthesis, grouping the expressions. Clear? So last, let us take one more example. So in this case, we have to enter the radius of the circle and we have to find the circumference. So I think all of you know what is circumference. It can be said as the perimeter of the circle. Clear? So how to find the circumference? So you might be knowing the formula. It is 2 pi r. So we have to enter the radius. So r represents your radius, the variable to store the value of radius. So if we enter the radius, then thereafter you know that in 2 pi r, the formula is as it is. So the pi symbol in your mathematics we will not be using in your program. So we will be using a different way to represent pi, pi for pi. Clear? Or you can use any other word, but it appears more logical, pi equal to 3.14. So instead of storing in pi, you can directly multiply 2 into 3.14 into r. That can be the case. Clear? It's better to store the values, thereafter you use in your expression or the statements. So input r, then store the value of pi, then use the formula circumference equal to 2 into pi into r. So this will calculate the circumference and then you will thereafter displaying the answer. So this is how algorithms are not difficult. These are simply the correct order of writing the solution in an organized manner, and in your algorithm you only consider the important resultant statements and you skip number of intermediate statements, because in computers you will be writing the programs according to the algorithm. Clear? So it will reflect a suitable instruction to the computer in a proper order. So always you come from top to bottom, means always you come from the control comes from top to bottom. Clear? So now this is what the example are for a variable that store the radius when you enter from the keyboard actually, and then pi the value is given, and cr the variable to store the circumference. So I hope you are clear about the topics, that is your algorithm, how to build and how to write your algorithm. And this algorithm writing is important process or to develop a problem solving mind, you can say, and it will basically form your foundation or the basis for program writing or program development in the coming time. Clear? So practice it, and if you are having any kind of problem, you can post on the group. Clear? In the next video we'll be again discussing more about algorithm, in that case discussing about your decision making statements. Clear?